Welcome, everyone. This is our a very important topic tonight as we talk about the discussion of um, pain, inflammation, and as Dr. Chris said, aging. It's really about joint health. And so this is really an epidemic, not only in our country, around the world. This is such a global topic. And we just want to thank everyone for joining us tonight to learn about this very important topic. And it's really challenging to see our loved ones when they're hurting, they have pain, or they're struggling. And there is nothing that brings us such great joy and bliss when we hear about the incredible stories, the testimonials that are coming in from all around the world with people who are having dramatic results and are benefiting from STEM Renew and the NHT Global products. So they work very synergistically together. So I'm Tina Johnson, and with me is Dr. Chris Morris. And when someone has, reduced pain or their inflammation goes down, they can have more energy. And as we know, everything is energy, right? So we're energy beings, we vibrate, we have a frequency. And when our bodies shift to a higher frequency, when it comes out of that pain or that inflammation or that lower vibration, it really affects all of us. We're so multidimensional.
Yeah, we lose freedom, we lose mobility, all the things that we take for granted and yet so important to us.
Absolutely. It affects us physically, emotionally, mentally. It's just all of these areas. So we're glad that you're here to learn about STEM Renew along with the other NHT Global products, how we can all be in a state of calm or joy or bliss, a higher frequency, and really working from a holistic approach to wellness. And we're so grateful for NHT because it also brings us a platform for unity. And this is being united all across the country, the globe,
Yeah.
with the vastness of all of the different people that we can really touch to help raise the frequencies, the vibrations, help people get out of pain, inflammation, and really make a shift in their overall awareness and their wellness and
Quality of life.
quality of life.
Exactly.
So, Dr. Chris, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you as we move into this next slide.
Thank you, Tina. And I just couldn't agree with you more. It's all about getting back our freedom, mobility, and health is what it's all about. And, us boomers, we've all heard the phrase, it's sure no fun getting old. Well, here's a graphic that kind of explains why we might say that. And it's about what happens to our structure. And you're looking at the skeletal structure here. And after we're fully developed in our 20s, here's when things start to decline. And later in our 30s, we see the body is losing those signal molecules. It's dehydrating, it's demineralizing, it's getting more sclerotic, meaning hardened. And what it looks like in this, second phase of degeneration, that's you're in your late 40s and you're starting to feel it. The energy's not there. You're waking up with a few more aches and pains. And then we call them our golden years in the 60s and 70s, but the structure itself is really compromised. And what you were sharing earlier, Tina, is that it's so wonderful to hear the stories of individuals that have been compromised, and yet they take back their ability to just, be mobile again, get active again, have flexibility, have strength, have the quality of life.
And it's not to be taken for granted,
Exactly.
especially, when we have someone that has so much pain or inflammation, they feel it every day. There's so much energy that can be lost because your mind, your emotions are focused on how badly you're hurting,
Mm-hmm.
or how you can't bend over to tie your shoes, or what your limitations are. So now we have something that people can take to break them free of some of those limitations.
Exactly. In this country alone, 40 million people over 50 are prone to fractures caused by this demineralization of the bones, Over 1/3 of the women living in America will eventually be diagnosed with osteoporosis. And this slide is what it looks like. I mean, this is what's happening internally in your skeletal structure, and we just again take it for granted because we can't see the bones that are inside us. So we're giving you this latest information on how the ingredients in Stem Renew and the composition can just have such a dramatic shift in our lives. And what's the underlying culprit of this accelerated aging? Well, it's inflammation. Inflammation is the single most dominant predictor of accelerated aging. 80 million Americans have chronic inflammation and they don't know it. So these are the things that we're just trying to help you understand more, and how Stem Renew deals with putting out that fire. This chronic inflammation can come along from poor nutrition, excessive stress, and it is something entirely different than the life-saving inflammatory immune response that's there to just deal with an acute trauma. Chronic inflammation is a slow burning systematic disturbance that affects parts of the body or the whole body itself. And over time, it can play a huge role in many of the chronic degenerative conditions like heart disease and diabetes and dementias and cancers. But today's focus is on the destructive effects of inflammation on the structural system. And what we mean by the structural system is the skeletal system. This is where we get our support from our bones. This is where we store our minerals, and the bone marrow within the bones, which is so critical to regenerative medicine, and the musculature, which provides the ability for the body to be more mobile, to be more flexible, to maintain this structure. So this is so important for us to understand how inflammation breaks all of this down. The latest approaches to joint disease, and before this time, it's always about going to the orthopedic surgeon to look at surgery, to look at ways to put out the fire with drugs. But now we're seeing a whole new dimension to treating chronic degenerative joint diseases. And it really started out with athletes, because athletes want to maintain their lifestyle and their ability to perform. I mean, this is their vocation. The professional athletes were looking to options to joint conditions that didn't involve surgery because of the side effects of surgery.
Oh, not only that, the side effects, but we're talking about the medication side effects. We're talking about many different levels of side effects, just the healing, the repair, and scar tissue, and all those things that come along with that.
Exactly. So from the Journal of Knee Surgery, doctors from the Department of Orthopedic Surgery, and this is at the University of Pittsburgh, and it started talking about using biological agents. And what they're talking about is stem cells and protein signal molecules that they refer to as PRP therapies. Many of you may have heard of that. But we're going to use the language of Stem Renew to help you understand that what we're doing is that we're introducing a technology that modern medicine, regenerative medicine, is spending billions of dollars researching and discovering that the best options for individuals that have these type of traumas, these joint traumas, is to look at stem therapy first, because it has the potential to provide joint, tendon, ligament, and muscle regeneration, not replacement or not repair, but we're talking about regeneration. So this is the next frontier, and the stem cells have the ability to do that because they can convert into any other type of tissue, like a muscle tissue, bone tissue that we're looking at with joint disease. We're looking at tendons and cartilage. These are all just critical to our structural foundation, and the ability to reduce inflammation, which is everything that we're talking about here today, the underlying cause of this degenerative condition. So if we take a look at this next slide, Tina, you see here, this is what was being studied at the University of Pittsburgh.
Right, and this is the PRP, the plasma-rich platelets.
Right.
And so this,
Proteins.
yeah, and those proteins. So what happens is when they looked at all of this, those therapies, those natural therapies, turns off the fire. It activates the body's healing and repair mechanisms. From that, it regenerates new tissue, and then we regain our strength and our mobility. All of this done without having to do invasive surgery.
Exactly, and when inflammation is involved, it creates these free radicals. They're these wild molecules in our system, and that come about from stress, whether it's natural metabolic function or accelerated stress, and these cause harm to the tissue. They break down the tissue. They cause harm to the genetics, the expression of our cells, and they're leading the cells to either malfunction or die. So if you look at a knee joint, you're looking at all kinds of tissue. You're looking at the bones there that are shown in this graphic, but also in between the bones, there's cartilage, and connecting the bones, there's ligaments. So you have muscle holding these bones in place, but you have the ligaments that join the bones, and you have the cartilage, which is actually like the cushion to the bones. And these other tissues require fluidity. There's like a lubrication that goes to the joint that's lost that causes this breakdown. There's the fluidity to the spongy like cartilage that we're talking about that acts as the cushion. That starts to dehydrate and shrink, and so everything gets much tighter and dislocated. So this is just what's happening this is a picture of the knee, but this is what's happening throughout the body. It's happening in between the vertebrae. It's happening in the shoulders. It's happening in the ankles. It's happening in the hips.
And the wrists, and yes,
exactly,
lots of people with
exactly.
wrist issues, hands, arthritis, all of that kind of stuff.
So when you hear about these injuries and the person has to replace a ligament or clean up some cartilage, this is what we're looking at. But, again, it all boils down to dealing with stress, because the stress is what causes the inflammation. But another byproduct of this stress is the cortisol. And the cortisol, the stress hormone, is what's causing this burn-up in the body. It increases inflammation. It increases the pH imbalance of acidity. It throws off the blood sugars, so the energetic potentials are lost, and throws off the hormones. The hormones are needed to actually build and construct the bones. You might have all the minerals, the building blocks and things, but without those signal molecules like the hormones and the growth factors, you're going to lose the ability to use those building blocks.
It's a very intricate matrix and dance. And the other thing with cortisol that I'd like to mention is, as we age, that is the only hormone that goes up when we really want it to stay down because of that inflammation that it causes. The other thing is that tire around the belly. If we have excess cortisols, we can have that extra fat layer around the belly, which is inflammation.
Exactly. So let's talk about how we can handle this with the incredible formulations that we have with NHT. So, of course, Stem Renew. It has the ability to get right at the core of this regenerative process, and you're getting the stem cell production and the healthy bones that it's helping to build, where the bone marrow is producing the stem cells, and then you get the stem cell release that occurs with, and we talked about this last week in great detail about how the, aloe vera and the other, immune formulations that are in the Stem Renew facilitate the release of the stem cells, and of course our signal molecules that activate those stem cells. So here you're introducing this regenerative capability with the Stem Renew, but you have a companion support formula, the glucosamine 2200. It was designed specifically for joint health because it has all the building blocks, and those building blocks are found in the shark cartilage, in the green lipid muscle, the turmeric, So you see very powerful collagen formulas. You see very powerful, protein matrices that are designed to support the internal structure of our own body. And of course, turmeric, one of the most powerful antioxidant and immune supportive herbs, is there. And so it's not just for joint comfort, but it's for the whole body, and puts out that
puts
fire.
out that fire, right?
Exactly.
Brings that inflammation down.
Exactly.
It's interesting. You mentioned the silent inflammation. Everybody has inflammation, but they don't really know it. And so even taking some Renew and the glucosamine 2200, and Dr. Chris is going to go into the omega-3s, even if you don't have pain or inflammation that you know about, you need to take these so that it keeps that fire at a low burn.
Exactly,
okay.
Exactly. And then the third formula on our slide here is the omega-3 essential fatty acids. And usually you hear in the media and through the health experts, they talk about the omega-3s for cardiovascular health, for heart health. But omega-3s promote joint comfort and flexibility. It's so critical of an ingredient for joint challenges and structural health. So we understand how important the combination of these three formulas. And if you can help someone really understand the opportunity of the NHT formulas, introduce the Restore Silver, because the Restore Silver is wonderful for calcium balance. And what are we talking about with structure? Calcium proteins, right? So here you have a whole combination of incredible formulations that have the ability to regenerate and repair the structural system. And Tina, we talked about this last week, but again, you can't stress enough how important ingredients matter. And this is a slide that everyone should really take note of, because when they're investing in good nutrition, they want to look at what kinds of things to look for, the factors to consider when you're buying your fish oil, when you're looking for plant-based minerals, when you're looking for free radical scavengers like the turmeric that we talked about in the glucosamine 2200. The important thing to look for is purity. The supplement must meet international standards for heavy metals, PCBs, dioxins, other contaminants. And we're looking all the time at our certificates of analysis that just show how clean our ingredients are in our formulation.
Exactly. We have stringent guidelines for all of the ingredients, all the testing and compliance that are followed for each and every formula for each and every country.
And why NHT, takes such, pays such attention to, working with FDA-approved labs and the quality control. Then there's freshness. We have live ingredients that, have been protected from oxidation and heat and light, the things that make ingredients destroyed. And so we have the fresh ingredients and the proper manufacturing to maintain that integrity. The potency. Here's a biggie. So many people say, well, when you look at the cost, you start challenging or questioning the cost of these high quality ingredients. Well, a lot of it has to do with the quantity, how much of the ingredient, because you need a certain amount just to have the therapeutic effect. An example would be the essential fatty acids. If there wasn't enough of the DHA or the EPA in the formulation, then you're taking a good oil, but you're not taking enough to make a difference. And of course, the bioavailability. This is understanding the synergy of the ingredients, how well they are combined together when they're mixed with other formulas. They don't interfere with the absorption and the bioavailability. And the fact that the ingredient is manufactured in a way that it can be absorbed. So we just don't introduce minerals in our stem renew, we introduce plant-based minerals because of the increased bioavailability. And sustainability. A good example, the omega-3s that are harvested from fish, and the cartilage that is also harvested from fish. It's harvested from a sustainable manner in a species that is not under threat of extinction. Let me try that one again. So great care is taken in how the ingredients are chosen, how they're manufactured, and how they're used in the formulations. So ingredients truly matter, and it's the synergy of these ingredients that are so important. So individuals are seeing great results with all of the NHT formulas, and even though they're not designed to treat, cure, or prevent any type of disease or illness, we're seeing these wonderful stories of people reversing their conditions because they're taking food supplements that are the body's looking for to facilitate this regeneration and repair that is so important. So this is so exciting to share with everyone, and such an opportunity for us to educate that there is a difference with natural therapies that can help them in a therapeutic way. So I'm going to turn it back to you, Tina.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on this discussion, this important topic of joint health. And share these products. Help yourself if you have joint pain. Help others. They definitely work. And again, we just so love hearing all of the great stories that are coming in, changing people's lives, and you have an opportunity to do this as well. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.